Welcome to Destiny Empowerment Hour, the show that inspires, informs, educates, and ignites the hearts and minds of people globally to pursue their purpose and embrace their destiny.
Destiny Empowerment Hour.
Now here's your host, Sharice Riley.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, everybody everywhere, whether you're tuning in live or whether you're checking us out in our video archives. You're here with your homegirl, Sharice Riley, once again on another episode, another broadcast of Destiny Empowerment Hour. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, out of your schedule to tune into our show. So I'm really excited about today's show. I'm excited for a couple of reasons. The first reason why I'm excited is because this is our very first live taped show. Usually when we do our show, we do it over the internet through Blog Talk Radio. But now we're stepping our game up a little bit, and we're now going to come to you live via video and hopefully on your next local television station. So that's the first reason why I'm very, very excited today. The second reason is because of my guest and what we're going to be talking about. The guest that I have today is an amazing young lady. Her name is Dr. Zundra Bateaste-Sutton. She comes from Mississippi, but she's an amazing woman. We're going to be talking about some things that's very near and dear to my heart. And one of those things is health, especially health in African American women and in women in general, because a lot of times we go about our life, we go about our day, and we live life and we don't really think about ourselves. We don't think about the things that we need to do to take care of us. We're always busy. If you're like me, I'm always so busy thinking about what I can do for someone else opposed to what I can do to keep myself healthy as well. So we're going to talk to our guest today about some of the different things that she's been through in her life and how she's overcome those things to continue on living a fabulous life that she's living. So no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what health issue is coming your way, no matter what the doctors are saying, the diagnosis, it does not have to stop you from dreaming. It doesn't have to stop you from going after your destiny. It doesn't have to stop you from achieving your purpose. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, achieving your destiny through the odds. When the doctor told you that you're not going to make it, but yet you defy those odds. So help me with a warm Destiny Empowerment welcome as we welcome our very first guest in a live studio, Dr. Zundra Sutton. Thank you, Zundra, for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I want to thank you for being with me today. I thank you for coming down, even though you kind of already had to be here for some things, but I thank you for making time in your schedule. I know when you do come to Texas, it's usually busy, your schedule, everywhere, you're in such demand that everyone wants to spend time with you when you come. And I understand why, but thank you for setting some time aside to spend with me, as well as to take part on what's going to be a historic moment in my personal life as well as in my career. So I thank you and I appreciate you, and I'm so glad to have you as my first guest on today's show.
Thank you for having me, Sharice. I'm really excited about being here. I'm very happy for you and very proud of what's going on in your life. So I really appreciate being here at this moment.
Thank you. So I'm going to jump right in. We're going to jump right into today's show because there are so many different things that we really can talk about that I believe that would be very impactful for the audience, that people can walk away from today's show and really take something to heart, something that they can take and invest in their own lives and be enriched by. So I want to be able to give our viewing audience and our listening audience the opportunity to hear as much as your story as possible. Now, Zundra, with you, when I first met you last year, you had such an amazing story that the first time we talked on the phone, we talked for hours, right. Like we had known each other forever. And just some of the things that you have been through in your life, growing up with a total of 8 of you guys. You're the 5th of 8 siblings. I am. You know, growing up pretty much all of your life, having your mother and father, then having your parents split up, going through some medical issues as a young child, being told you wasn't going to make it past a certain age. Then you went on to go to USM to get your bachelor's. Then you went to Jackson State, got your master's. Then you went on to medical school to become a doctor. So you've done some pretty amazing things. So let's talk a little bit to kind of give the audience a little bit bit about your background. What happened to you as a kid that changed your life as we know it today?
Well, being one of 8, I have 4 older brothers, and I am number 5, as you said, but I'm the oldest girl. Being the oldest girl, sometimes we have to take that leadership role.
Yes.
When I was younger, and I mean from the time that I pretty much was able to communicate, I had issues with my stomach, but was not able to tell it to anyone. It was no way. My mom was very attentive, but as a 2-year-old, you can't say what's wrong. So I went through a point where they would call me a picky eater, and that I wouldn't eat certain things and this and that. So it wasn't until I was about 10 or 11 that I got really sick. Went into the hospital and learned that all this time I wasn't a picky eater. I had a digestive disorder that many women, about 75% of African American women and about 60% of women in general have a digestive disorder that they have suffered with their entire lives and had no idea, never diagnosed with any, So what happened is at that point I was so sick, the doctor really gave me a diagnosis of it was not going to be a long lifetime for me, because eventually it gets worse. And here I am, at 30 and still kicking it. It can be hard, but still kicking it. So at that point I realized that didn't have to be the diagnosis. I know in the Black church we always say, God has the last say, so not the doctor. And that's really the truth. That's really the truth. So I took it from there at that point and just wanted to go forward and just be somebody different. And even if I didn't make it until most people make it 70, 80, if I don't live to be 70 or 80, I realized that I wanted to make a difference in the time that I had.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, you said that they gave you a particular, a time. What time frame did they give you when you originally was diagnosed?
I was 12. They told me approximately 21. So I've 9 years surpassed that.
Wow. So 21 years old, I'm sure probably on your 20th birthday, you're looking 21 is staring you down, and I can't imagine what was going on in your mind, what emotions you could have been feeling at that particular time. And you brought something up about, how us in the church, we say, God has the final say, which is very, very true. Now, how did that affect, because, growing up in the church, growing up with a strong belief, system in God, how does a 12-year-old girl cope with that news going into her 21st birthday? Did you get like some of us, when something bad happens, we automatically get upset with God and feel like it's God's fault. Right. So how did you cope with that? Did that hinder your relationship?
It did. As a 12-year-old, I'm still under, I played the piano in the church, a musician. I took it from the standpoint of, I used to say, and I always say, I was beefing with God. I did not want to be here if I only had a limited amount of time. What am I here for? Why am I here? What's the point of this? Why am I going to church? So I would go to church and I would go faithfully beat the preacher there on Sunday, but listen to nothing that was going on. Nothing. Wow. I just, at 12, 13, I'm talking on up until I went to, to college. And what I realized is that the doctor was not telling me that at 21, God was telling me, not the doctor. God was telling me that at 21, I was going to live a different life. And at 21, something really amazing happened. I got pregnant with my son, and it changed my life. So maybe I did die at 21, but I started an entire new life at 21 and began to actually see what my destiny was and began to take the path and the roads to lead me to whatever it is. If I'm gone tomorrow, it changed at that day.
Wow. So at 21 years old, you brought up a very, very powerful point. And I shared with you on last night when we were talking about one of the books I'm working on, Dying to Live. Right. And we were talking about that death process. So you had a death process that really took place where God totally came in and changed your mindset, changed your outlook, changed your view on how you saw Him, how you saw your own life. And that's when you began to understand your purpose, so to speak, and understand your destiny. So at what age did you decide that you wanted to go into the field of medicine? You decided to go into a very, what I call,
destiny and power.